Hello, welcome to a new video, and this is my first video actually. It's a walkthrough on the password game by Neil from neal.fun. So, the password game is quite a simple premise. It's essentially you're trying to sign up for a website or something, and you need to choose a password for your account. But to ensure absolute security, it keeps asking you to add more and more things until you win, until you complete all the rules. And the rules start off pretty simple, but as you'll see in the video, they do get very complex. So this is a less of a tutorial and more of a walkthrough on how to beat the password game from neal.fun. So I need to choose a password. I'm going to just put hello. And there we go, I've already passed the first rule. My password must be at least 5 characters long. Pretty simple. Now my password must include a number. At this point in the game, the rules for you will be the exact same as they are for me. And I'll let you know once they change, because sometimes there will be a rule that is different. It's the same in premise, but your answer will be different. But we're not at that point yet, so I'm just going to capitalize this E for my uppercase letter. Now a special character is simply pretty much everything on the keyboard that isn't a letter or number. So I'm just going to change this L to an exclamation mark. Obviously you don't have to change the letters to be it. You can use more than these 5 letters, but I'm going to try and keep my password as short as I can, within reason. Now the digits must add up to 25. This is an important rule and quite a difficult one later on when you have to put quite a few numbers in. But for now, I'm just going to do 9. Add 9 is 18. Add 7 is 25. Lovely. Now my password must contain a month of the year. You could do any month. I'm just going to put May. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of these and capitalize this A just to try and keep my password at 8 characters. Now a Roman numeral. So the Roman numerals is a Roman way of counting. So you've got I is 1, 2 I's is 2, 3 I's is 3, an I and a V is 4, V is 5. I'm going to put just an I for now to get that ticked off. I like to keep spaces in between everything. So I know this is my numbers that make 25, this is my month, this is my Roman numeral, and now this is going to be one of my sponsors. So we've got Pepsi, Starbucks, and Shell, I think. I'm just going to put Pepsi, it's a pretty simple one, Now this one, the Roman numerals should multiply to 35. This is quite a difficult one, because there's only 2 ways of multiplying to 35. It's 5 times 7, which you could write as just V and VII, or it's 35 times just 35 on its own, and I think that's the one I'm going to do, as it's less characters. So XXV, let's tick that off. Now this captcha. This is the first rule where the captcha I've been given is probably different to your one. It could be the same, but at the end of the day, it won't matter. Now, you see I've got this 424 in this captcha. That kind of messes up with these numbers. Like, obviously I could make it work, but you need to keep your numbers very finite. You want to have as little numbers as you can in this password. So I'm just going to, there we go. Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to keep re-rolling that until I get a captcha without any numbers in. And yep, you can just keep rolling it as well until you get no numbers. It just makes it a little bit easier later on. Maybe you won't have the exact same captcha as mine, but it will always be 5 letters, and it won't have any numbers. Now, this is the first time we have to go off neal.fun. My password must contain today's Wordle answer. Now, I don't know today's Wordle answer, so I'm just going to search in Wordle, as you could. This is another rule where your answer will be different than mine, unless you're also doing it on the 23rd of July. But it doesn't matter, it'll still just be a 5-letter word. So, the premise of Wordle is that you type in a 5-letter word and it will tell you if the letter's not there, if it is there but in the wrong place, or if it is there and in the right place. So the word I'm going to do is snail. Seems like a fun word. And yep, I've got no S, no N, no I, no L, but there is an A somewhere, just not in the middle. So I'm going to put maybe the A's in the second place. So I could put maybe A's. Maybe it starts with an A. Try about. Ah, rubbish. So we know there's a T and an A, but no U. So there's probably an E in there. So maybe the word is like treat. There's not a T at the end, but I'm just going to try it. Yes, there we go. Okay. So my order is wrong, but I do have some of the right letters. So I doubt it would end with an A. So I think the A has to be here. I reckon it probably ends with an ER. So I think we're looking at like XATER. Now I think it can't be later because we don't have an L. Hater. It could be hater. I'll try that. No H, but we do know it's something ater. W, water. Yes, there we go. Lovely. So today's Wordle was water. So I'm just going to go back to neal.fun, don't know if you've forgotten about it, and type in water. Now, my password must contain a 2-letter symbol from the periodic table. So let me pull up the what's that spelling? The periodic table of elements. I'll just use the one Google gives me. So a 2-letter symbol would be like Li for lithium. So H for hydrogen, that's 1 letter. Li is 2. I'm gonna just put helium because I don't know, I quite like it. He, it's like almost like the hello we started with. I think I'll put this helium on its own line though. That will be important later. Now, my password must contain the current phase of the moon as an emoji. This is another one that it could be different depending on what season you're watching in. And you may think, how the hell am I supposed to do that? But it's pretty simple. You Google, what is the phase of the moon? There you go. And it says it's a waning crescent, whatever that is. I'm just going to copy, Control C, and paste, Control V. And then I'm just going to put emoji and see what comes up. And it looks like this website has the emoji right there. So I'm just going to Control C, Control V, it right there. Lovely. Now, whereas with the Wordle and the capture, it was pretty simple to work it out, even if it's different than what I have here. This one is where the password gets a little bit harder. So this is a game called GeoGuessr, where they put you in a random place on Earth, and you have to try and guess what country you're in. Now, this will be different, or probably will be different, for every viewer, and there's no way to refresh it unless you do that. And then if you do that, then your capture will be messed up, and you don't want to reload the page. So my tip for playing this is to either look for a flag, if you know the flags well, or to look for some text. Now this says Kereskedelmi Bank. Now I have no idea where that is, but if I Google Kereskedelmi Bank, I can see what country it's in. It says it's in Hungary, right here. Let me try Hungary, see if I've got my information right. And there we go. Look at that, lovely. So it's pretty simple most of the time. Just look for some text and Google where it is. So if you're a purist and you don't want to cheat with Google, try and find a flag or maybe something in, Hungarian that would point out this is quite a nice place. Anyway, so we've pretty much skipped over rule 15 because I already have a leap year, and that's because I have the 0 from the start. 0 is a good leap year to put in because it doesn't change this 997 total, and it's always going to be right. So there we go. Pretty easy rule right there. This rule 16, quite a tricky one. My password must contain the best move for black to move in algebraic chess notation. Now, I'm not going to go full into detail on algebraic chess notation or even how chess works. You can click on this, it will take you to the Wikipedia article on how it works. Or if you comment, I'll make a separate video on algebraic chess notation and how to pass this. Now, this is another one where it will be different for every person, and there's no way to re-roll it. But generally, I just spam a bunch of moves that I think are decent until I get one that works. So I'll start. I feel like putting this rook right there, although it will definitely be taken instantly, it might be decent because it gets the king into check. So you start with the name, so that's a rook. Then you say where it's going, c1. And then if it's going to check this king, put a plus. Oh, and look at that. I got it right on my first try. That almost never happens. Now, I do have this 1 here, which is mandatory. I can't get rid of it. So that's pretty simple. Put the 7, turn it to a 6. Lovely. Now this, rule number 17, very easy. Just copy and paste this egg emoji. This is the unhatched version of Paul. I do not like Paul. Paul will hatch later on and will cause quite a bit of problem in my password. But hey, Paul is still an egg right now. Let's not worry about him. Now this rule, 18. The elements in my password must have atomic numbers that add up to 200. A little bit difficult, but let's see what we can do. So if I pull up the periodic table of elements and see what elements I have. So I have this V from my 35 and this HE from my 2-letter symbol. HE, it's got 2 numbers here. It's got 2 and 4.0026. Now some of you may remember, if you learned it from a science class, that this is the mass number and this is the atomic number. We're looking for the atomic number, so when you're adding up your elements, you want to add up the smaller number. So we have a 2 for helium, and for V, vanadium, we have a 23. So we're on 25 out of 200. Pull up my calculator real quick. 200 take away 25 equals 175. So I need to add some elements that add up to 175. So what I think I'll do is... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I think for 175, I'll put in 3 50s and then a 25. So 50 is SN. So, and then I've just realised, because I have this 2-letter, I don't even need this helium. So I'm going to put an a 27 now, I believe, which is equal to cobalt. Now the problem with cobalt is it has a capital C in it, and in Roman numerals, a capital C, I believe, is 1,000, maybe it's 100. Anyway, if I have 100 in here, it will mess up my multiplication, as 35 times 100 is not 35. So I can't put cobalt, but no worries, I'll just put Fe iron and a hydrogen, and that'll add up. So FeH. Lovely. Now, that's my elements done, rule 19. But before we finished rule 19. You need to do a bunch of dashes. Now this will be important for rule 20, as the dashes are useful just to sort that out. Now you can do as many as you like. I'm going to do this many, but we'll start with rule 19. So all the vowels must be bolded, and they've given me a lovely bold symbol to bold it. Now I think the game has tried to highlight some of the vowels, but it's obviously not done a great job. It's highlighted a space here, but hey, we just go through, highlight all of the vowels. So a vowel is A, E, I, O, U, but also Y. In neal.fun, for some reason, he has put Y as counting as a vowel, so you need to make sure you also bold your Ys. Now you may be wondering, why don't you just bold the entire thing? Bold the entire thing, which you definitely could do, but for a later rule, I just prefer to do it. Each vowel makes it a little bit easier, not having unnecessary bolds. Oh, I've missed one. Pepsi, BYY, water, Hungary. Ah, the U in Hungary. There we go. Now rule 20. Oh no, my password's on fire. Put it out. You see this fire is spreading up here. Now, if I had not had the dashes, it would be spreading all over my text, and it would be deleting all of my text, which would not be good. So the reason you put the dashes is so that hopefully the fire spawns in the dashes, and then you can easily just highlight and delete the dashes to get rid of the fire. And now that rule 20 is over, I can get rid of the dashes. I don't need them anymore. Now this one may seem a little bit confusing. My password's not strong enough, but all it wants is for you to get this little man, Control-C copy, and Control-V paste him into your password. 3 times. Now I'm nice and strong. Now I need to contain one of the following affirmations. This is just a fun one, it's the same every time. I normally go for I am loved, because it's the shortest. Now, there's a problem here. The first is the vowels, which we can solve, but there's also the elements, because I have a capital I. This capital is not actually needed. You can lowercase that, and it will still allow the affirmation. Now the vowels, pretty simple, just go back over and bold the new vowels from the new bit of text. And then once you've done this what happened here is a good thing. It's a good example because sometimes the new rules will force the old ones to break. Now this rule number 23 is the worst rule in the entire. Well, no, that's a hyperbole. But Paul has hatched, and he needs to eat 3 caterpillars every minute. Now, what you have to do for this rule is copy, Control-C, and paste the caterpillar in anywhere into your password. There's a few contingencies. If for some reason you run out of caterpillars, then he dies, and you lose. You can't copy and paste your stuff back in. It's over. You have to restart from scratch basically. If for some reason you delete Paul with the backspace key and he's gone, you also lose. And if you give him more than 8 caterpillars at once, you overfeed him and you lose. So I just stick with 8, 6, 7, 8. Any more than 4 and you'll, or if there's less than 4 you want to try and fill out. Anyway, my password must contain the URL of a 36-minute, 12-second long YouTube video. Now, this is kind of difficult. You really expect me to scroll through all of YouTube trying to find one? Well, there are spreadsheets out there which contain all the different times and how long you need the video to be, but generally I just go onto Google and I go 36-minute, 12. Oh, I got 10-second one time on the YouTube video. And yeah, I just keep scrolling, just checking on Paul here. Now this one's 11, and you may be like, oh, so unlucky it's not 12. But actually, a lot of the time they will just allow it, based on the fact that it's only a couple seconds off. This might not work though. Oh, no, it did work. Yes, lovely. Yeah, perfect. So with that rule, your time frame that you need to get will be different than mine. So yours might be 5 minutes and 8 seconds or whatever. So you'll just have to Google your time and try and find a suitable video. Yeah, as I said, if you're a couple seconds off on either end, the game will still allow it. Now, after rule 24, it's messed up the element one. So, first, actually, I'm just going to solve the vowels. It's pretty simple. You get this Y-O-U, U, E, O, A, another A, and then a little ooh at the end. Lovely. Now, my atomic numbers are a little bit messed up, but that is fine. I've got this K for potassium. If I pull up my periodic table of elements, K for potassium is right there, and it has a value of 19. So I need to take 19. So this FeH was 27. So 27 take away 19 is 8. So I need to put one with the value of 8. Pretty easy. Oxygen. And there we go. Lovely. Oh, the vowels need to be bolder. Let me bold that O. Rule 25. This is a tricky one. A sacrifice must be made. Pick 2 letters that you will no longer be able to use. This simply means if these 2 letters are in your password, you fail. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention you can get rid of the HTTPS. It only wants the www, just to save on some letters. But you pick 2 letters that you want to get rid of. Now, you may think, oh, we'll get rid of Z or X or Y or W. They don't really use those letters. But X, Y, W, they're quite common. So generally I go for Z or J or K. And the way you can check if your password already has it is if you hit Control F, you can search for anything in the page. So if I hit E, it will show all the times E is in my password. So obviously I'm not going to pick a sacrifice for E, because then I would be cooked, as water needs to be in there. Now I'm just going to feed Paul, because he's running low. So I'm going to see Z. Do I have any Zs in here? I do not have any Zs in here. Do I have any Js? I do have a J. Do you have any Ks? I also have a K. I have 2 Ks. But one's a lowercase, that's why the potassium didn't go off. Anyway, so I have no Zs. What about M? Oh, I do have an M. What about Q? I don't have any Qs. So no Zs, no Qs. So I'm going to pick to get rid of those 2. And hope it's a good decision. Sacrifice. Lovely. Now, rule 26. They've given me a lovely italic button, and I need to contain twice as many italic characters as bold. Now, what they mean is at least twice. So what I'm going to do is get a full stop, italicize it, which doesn't even change it, and now all of these full stops will be italic, and I just spam them until rule 26 is solved. There we go. Happy days. This one's another easy one. At least 30% of my password must be in the Wingdings font. Now the Wingdings font is very terrible. It's not letters. Like, you see how Comic Sans just makes a different O and monospace, you know. Wingdings makes it a flag. So we want to probably best to leave your letters as is and just change the full stops to being Wingdings. And there you go. That's an easy one. Now, rule 28 is a bit of a difficult one. My password must contain this colour in hex. Looks like a pinky, almost got a little bit of blue, purple in there, but very red, very pink. Now hex is a way of, it's just a sort of letter system that labels every colour, pretty much. And I don't know what that colour is, but I know how to get to it. So first, you want to right click this colour and click inspect. And it will take you like basically into the code, I think. And you want to scroll down next to this full stop, and where it says RGB and then it will give you the color. This is another one where the color is different every time, but you can re-roll, so it shouldn't be much of a problem. So you just want to click on this line and then just highlight the RGB value like that. Now this is the RGB value of the color, not the hex value, but it can't be that difficult, as you just take your value and then say RGB to hex, copy and paste this into it, and there you go, it's my exact pink. What's the hex value? That is the hex value. And then we just chuck it in there. Now, it's messed up my, let me unbold that. So I need to just really quickly bold this vowel. I need to fix the digits, get rid of this 6, and that's that rule done. Lovely, I have the colour. Now all Roman numerals must be in Times New Roman. That's a very easy rule. You just highlight your text and put it into Times New Roman. Now, this one is where it gets a little bit tricky. So what I'm going to do is pull up a notepad. Excuse me if there's anything written in this notepad. Yeah, that's an old password. Don't save. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my whole password, Control-C, and just chuck it in here for safekeeping. There you go. Look at that. Beautiful. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Now the reason I've done this is because the font size of each digit must be equal to its square. This doesn't seem too hard, as I can easily just get that, use this nice font thing. 9 squared is 81, and yeah, it's big, but doesn't make much difference, does it? But what's the square root of 0? No, sorry, what's 0 times 0? And if I put up my handy calculator, 0 times 0 equals 0. Now, if this has no size, it's invisible. It's still there, but it's invisible. And I would like to know if it's there or not, which is why I have it written here. So I can always go back to this just in case I need to check what letters I have or what numbers. So I'm just going to make this 0. See, it's gone invisible. I'm going to make this one 0. I'm going to make this one 36. Make this one 0. And I'm going to make this 1. 1 times 1 is 1. It's very, very small. Now, rule 31. Every instance of the same letter must have a different font size. This is a very tricky one and a very time-consuming one. Now, what I like to do with this one is hit the handy Control F to highlight letters, and then just go through the entire alphabet. So, A. Got lots of A's. So this A, I'm going to leave as 28, and then I'm just going to go up. So this one's going to be... Actually, no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start quite low. I'm going to start on 16. Then this A is going to be 25. This A is already 28. This A is going to be 32. This A is going to be 36. And this A is going to be 42. Now, see, they're all different size, which is useful. Now, make sure pretty much after every letter you feed Paul, because if he dies, all of this hard work will be for nothing. Now, this is very time consuming, but I'm going to go through it just so you know what to do. So, B, we're going to start with 16, then 25, then 28, then 32, 36. Now luckily it's only talking about letters, it's not talking about wingdings letterboxes, so that's useful. Now let's just keep going. C, quite a few C's in here. C16, 25, 28, 32. Lovely. D. Only two Ds, so I'll just leave this one as 16 and this one as 25. Now this is the point in the password where everything starts to look a little bit weird, as they're all different sizes and your zeros are like disappeared, but that's why we have it in Notepad, just so that I can see it all perfect without any weird changes. Let's keep going. E, the most common letter in the English alphabet. I expect a lot, yep. Now, there is a possibility that you have so many of a particular letter that you don't have enough for all of these, but that's never happened to me. I think that's a quite rare occurrence. So, yeah. F, I'm going to go for. Only one F, so I don't even have to change it because it's every instance. E, F, G, only one G. G, H, two H's, so I'm going to put this one as 16 and this one as 25. Oh. Now it's at this point in the game where you realise it gets hard, and this is not the hardest one, I don't think, but it's one that does trip me up. H-I, only two I's, I'll make this one 25 and I'll make this one 16. H-I-J, only one J, that's nice. J-K, don't know why it scrolled all the way down to there. Got two K's, 16, 25. H-I-J-K-L, only one. L-M, quite a few M's. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Yep. Not quite sure what to say. It's just quite time consuming, but pretty chill once you get going. You want to be quite careful with this because it's once again, Neal has kind of messed up with the highlighting. I'm not really sure what's going on with this, but hey, or maybe the highlighting is right, but sometimes it gets a little bit funky. Like, why is it highlighted this space here? You know. So yeah, you just wanna. You can't really rely on the highlighting, is what I'm saying. But M, oh, sorry, M, N. Here you go. Quite a few N's in here. 25. Forgot to make this one 16. Where are the rest of my N's? Yeah. That one's 28. That one's 32. Is that right? Yeah. M N N O. Whoa, loads of O's. 16. 25. That one's already 28, but yeah, might as well. 28. 32. 36. Nice. LMNOP. Two P's in Pepsi. 16 and 25. LMNOP. Q. No Q's, obviously. QR. Nice. Oh, Paul's getting hungry. Gotta make sure you're always feeding Paul. Paul has ended many of my rounds. QRS. Lovely. This Pepsi's looking mighty small now. It's got lots of common letters in it, I suppose. 25, 28, 32. QRS. T. Lots of T's this time. I guess there's always going to be a couple in the YouTube, the link. QRS. T. U. V. QRS. T. U. There we go. 16, 25, 28, Qrustuv. Qrustuv. Lots of V's this time as well. 16. Yeah, I just keep going up. I generally start at 16 and not 1 because otherwise it's really hard to see them. But you can do whatever really. You can do them completely random. I like to do it in a height order from lowest to smallest. TUVW. Yep, quite a few W's in this one. Always got to have that www for World Wide Web. It's weird, not many people really use World Wide Web. Like, it's not www.neal.fun. Well, it probably is, but it doesn't say that, does it? Oh, I skipped one. That's supposed to be 32. 28, I mean. That's going to be 32. And that's going to be 36. Make sure to feed Paul. Always got to have Paul. TUVWX. Last few. 25. 16. That one's 28. WXY. And this should be the last one I have to do because I have. Do I have? I don't think I have Z's in this, do I? No, I don't think I should have any Z's. Already 28. Nice. 32 and 36. Lovely! I didn't even make any mistakes. Alright. Now, this one, Rule 32, this is why we had to keep our numbers. We had to keep them well and dandy, as otherwise we wouldn't have enough numbers at the end. Now, I have 99 right here, and I have 185. Just to try and keep my numbers low as possible, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my password length 200 or 199. That way, when I remove these, I can go 200 and a full stop, and there we are. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go lovely. Now, oh yes, the digits as well. So I got rid of 99 and I added a 2, so I need to replace that with a 97. I'll just put the 97 here. Get rid of these 2. This is where it gets very tricky. You got to be on lock. So I'm just gonna Control C copy and Control V paste the idealistic version of this before I can get rid of these. So this 2 is going to become a 4. 4 is very small, but it is still tiny but visible. These zeros are not visible at all. Couple of zeros. This 9 is going to be 81, and this 7 is going to be 49. Now, I've done this so that the 200 is determined on how many of these, and I've set it as 7. Ooh, I forgot about this rule actually. The length of my password must be a prime number. So let me just search up prime number grid to 300. I'll just put it like that. Okay. Now a prime number is a number that can only be divisible by itself and 1. Let's see what we have. What's near to 200? 211. That's pretty good. Yeah, we'll go for 211. So get rid of this. Right. Just make it legible. Yep, 211. That means I need to make this a 5. I need to make this 210. 211. No, lovely. Okay, now it's just the font size bit. So if I just recopy and paste my ideal password into here, to this notepad. There you go, Control V. And keep the caterpillars. Right, so this needs to become 25. This needs to become 4. Oh, no, not 9. 4. These both need to become 1, so very small. And there we go, lovely. Now, I've actually timed this very well. So my password must include the current time. The current time is about to be 10 o'clock, which is almost perfect for me, because 10 o'clock has not very many high numbers in it. Now, I think you can set the time on your computer for whatever you like it to be, which is very useful. So yeah, I'm just gonna make that 1, make that 0, make those 0. Then I need to get rid of some of these, so it's 211, and then make this a 4, as well as make it 16. Why does it say I don't have the current time? That's weird. Interesting. Let me put it in again. Why doesn't it say I have the current time? It is definitely 10 a.m. Interesting. Rule 34 is. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I had an issue. I found out that you need to have a semicolon here instead of a full stop. That has passed the challenge. So, now let's continue with the game. Sorry about that. I got very confused for a second. Anyway. Time is ticking now, so I'm going to be very quick and I might not talk very much. But, hey. That's the game. Digits must have up to 25. There's a 3 here. Okay, let's go, let's go, let's go. Right, let's make this 8. 64. Make this 5. A 25. Let's make this. Yes. Okay, I've done it. So I'm at the point where I have my password, but I need to retype it, and I can't copy and paste it. Now, that was very stressful, but the good thing is we don't have to worry about the time anymore, and we don't have to worry about Paul, okay? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my reserve. I'm going to grab this, copy it. I'm going to paste it. Lovely. Now let me just zoom out a little bit so that I can see everything. I need to make this password match exactly. Now first, this 9 and 5 should be an 8, and this 10 should be a 10.05. Lovely. So let's get started. I need to go back and sort out my lettering. This is the reason that I did the letters in order, as otherwise this would be a little bit more difficult. Now, sorry about that. I did a little bit of off camera to try and figure this out. So, now, the way that I perfectly copied and pasted this without being able to grab the text is, so I need you to right click it and once again hit inspect. Then I'm going to go onto where it says password box, right click, copy outer HTML. Now this will be a bunch of computer jarble that I'm sure you won't understand, but on a new tab and go on any HTML reader. So I'm going on CodeHS, is what I use in school, and I'm going to go on a sandbox. And you basically want any program that will be able to read HTML, which is this one here. So this might not work for you, but if you search any HTML program, then it should work. So I'm just going to delete what they have already here, get rid of all of this. Don't want any of that. And then I'm just going to click on it, Control V, and paste it. Now it's in a bunch of blocks because this is meant to teach like children how to code, but when I press run code, it'll print out this. Now if I ignore the your password bit and just go from here and scroll all the way over and copy everything with a Control Z, then if I go on to, I suppose Word would probably work. Like what you would do is you would go onto your password game and you would fill it in, but I've already done that, so I'm just gonna prove that it works. Control V it. Keep source formatting. As you can see, it pasted everything perfectly with the font sizes as well. So it does the same thing on the password game. And there you go, that's it. That's how to complete the password game. There are a few tribulations in there. I have played the password game many times before, however this is the first time that I have actually beat it. So yeah, a few things to note. You want to try and do it at around 10 AM as it has the least amount of numbers. Because if you were doing it at like 1759, if I add up the digits in 1759, you get 1, add 7, add 5, add 9. That's already 22 out of the 25 that you can have. So try and do it around 10 AM. But there we go. That is how to beat the password game. Yep, sorry about any tribulations in there. Although I've played many times, this is the first time I've actually fully beaten it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Yeah.